Okay, it's 7 o'clock. I'll call the meeting to order. It's Patrice. I don't know. Okay, we'll take the roll. It looks like everybody's here. Oh, there he is. He's right there. Okay. I'm assuming everybody had a chance to read the minutes of the October meeting.
I made one correction after I'd emailed them. I had a misspelled word.
Okay.
And those are
Yeah.
corrected copies.
Okay. Did anybody have any additions or corrections?
Mailed them in, or emailed.
Okay. Okay, then if there's no additions or corrections, I would ask for a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I move that we approve the minutes as presented.
Got a motion from James. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second from Rand. All in favor of approving the October minutes, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, we approve the minutes. Anything under clerk's report?
Everything I have is on a different,
Okay,
it's
then
in a
we'll-
different place.
Then we'll go to the treasurer's report. Are there any questions on any item on the treasurer's report?
Mr. Mayor, the only thing I would pop up is I had my bill roughly finalized and it's sitting in my office because
Okay.
I raced out of the office somewhat frantically this evening, and I'll have it for you for next month.
Okay, we will take care of it then. Well, if there's no questions on any line item, I would ask if there's a motion to approve the disbursements for October.
I'll make that motion to
Okay.
approve the disbursements for October.
Have a motion from Cindy, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I got a second from James. All in favor of approving the disbursements for October, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, down to the mayor's report. Looking around, I've done a quick head count, and probably the next meeting we can probably have downstairs because we have enough seating for the amount of people that we have here. So that's what I will plan on, and hope that if a bunch of extra people show up, well, we'll just have to come up here and turn the heat on and see how it goes. But that's what I plan on right now. So. Okay, anything under town attorney's report?
Over the past couple of months, I've occasionally got random phone calls from folks that I don't know, leaving weird messages about zoning in Pitkin or the short-term rental issues. And
Yeah.
I generally haven't called folks back because at some level I'm just the attorney and the public liaison. I got a letter that Jody brought over to me this week, and it's pretty random. I'm just letting you guys know that occasionally I get... What's that?
Is that the one from somebody named Jay?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Heard that-
okay.
I just heard that was happening.
Yeah, so I don't...
Oh my goodness.
I don't always return random phone calls, or I get a letter like this, which I don't even know. It just looks kind of weird. And I'm not saying that it's bad or otherwise, I'm just saying at some level, I don't think you want me to.
Last time I got a letter from Jay, I just refused on it, gave it back to him at the post office.
He's up in Michigan or somewhere now
Yeah.
anyway, so.
I'm just letting you know that occasionally I get
Okay,
random stuff.
he writes letters to everybody,
Yeah.
from the president on down.
All right.
So,
So you good, you feel?
yeah.
So I'm in good company. I
You're
like
in
it.
good company.
All right.
Yeah.
Yes, you are. Anything else under town attorney?
No, I've got the SRT ordinances, I think, roughed out. Zoning, I've been working on it, but I'm not prepared to, I didn't have a presentation that, what I need from you guys, and I know this is an agenda item, is a date that I can meet with the ZBA and make a presentation with regards to recommended zoning modifications to them. And if you want to do that in the queue of the agenda, I'm fine with that, but.
Okay, yeah, we'll talk about it when
Yep.
We'll
So,
get to it
other than
then.
that, nothing.
okay. Under public comments, I got a request from Rand Mikowski.
Well, we are a small town, and I would like the meeting to sing happy birthday to Lisa and Chris.
Chris Nassau?
Yeah.
Well,
All right.
he has to
Okay,
stand.
everybody.
We're
One-
27,
stand
I
up.
don't know, 40 or
Happy
something.
birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Mrs. Lewis. Happy birthday to you. Hey, hey.
Okay.
I called you, Dave, I couldn't find your phone.
It's under Rand.
Birthday to you.
Is it today?
Lisa said you'd be the only one who remembered her birthday.
Yeah.
I remember it this morning.
We're not the same
All right.
age, he's way older.
We don't have to go into ages. Okay, we'll go down to the commissioner and community reports, anything under building.
Issuing permits.
Anybody in particular, or?
Basically stuff we've dealt with the sewers. and
These
then,
septic permits?
2 house permits are in the works for up there next to Michael's. I don't even know the people's name.
Okay.
Herman.
And next to Phil's. And Corey's putting an addition on his house.
Okay,
So things are going.
all right. Anything under zoning?
Yeah, there was a zoning board meeting held, and there was approval of a addition to a non-conforming property and a setback from the property line for a weatherport type structure, so that was
Okay.
approved.
Okay. Fire department?
No news is good news.
Hey, that is.
There
Nothing.
was a call on November 1st, but you
Yeah.
were hunting.
Yeah.
What?
There
Oh,
was
yeah,
a
there
call
was a
on November
call.
1st.
How's he doing,
Yes.
by the way?
It was just Brad falling off the roof. No big
Yeah.
deal. So,
Yeah, everybody was hunting.
Oh, you're
And
right.
he was camping,
Brett.
and he was hunting.
and Brad had to lay on the ground for over a half an hour waiting
James
for
was
the
gone.
ambulance.
I was gone. John was gone. Levi was gone.
Yeah.
Okay, anything under parks and rec? Nothing. Environmental health?
Nope.
Nothing. That's
I
good.
did meet with, well, it wasn't environmental health though, but I did meet with the attorney on it.
Well, actually, under environmental health, the ordinance that was passed was revised with the changes and mail or emailed to the Water Quality Control Department in Denver, and they accepted the changes. So 45 days from our last meeting, which will be the 26th, Thanksgiving, then that OWTS Reg 43 goes into effect.
Okay. Okay, thank you, James. Anything under streets?
Nope, I'm all done with gravel.
Okay. Ditches?
You're off.
They're off. Good man. Cemetery?
Nothing.
Nothing under cemetery. PHCA,
No.
no news there.
Oh, wait, excuse me, I'm sorry. PHCA is having a Thanksgiving potluck on the 18th, which is next Wednesday. QCIA, I'll just throw that in, will be having a Thanksgiving potluck in Ohio City this Saturday.
Okay,
Or the
okay.
following, no, the 14th. 14th, whatever that
14th.
That would be this Saturday, yeah,
is.
already. It's
Okay,
around the 10th
okay, thank
already.
you. Anything under town hall?
Well, I did get a woodworker out of Gunnison to come and look at the table downstairs.
Yes,
He believed it was a veneer and was wondering where the table came from or who made it. Do we have any information over that
It came from paperclip.
from Paperclip? Do we have any receipts on what kind of, like what brand table it is?
I don't,
Because our easiest way would get a new leaf by them, because the leaves are very easy to take out and put a new one in. Otherwise, we tried chipping a couple of them off and had very good luck. But if I did try doing it myself, we might have a few minor scratches. I mean, teeny tiny, but I didn't want to do anything until I found out who made the table.
They
And
should have record of
Get a
it.
new
Oh,
paperclip.
I'm sure that paperclip could probably tell you, but I guess if somebody can get it off with just minor little scratches, you know, just, see, right now, if you put a piece of paper down and try to write on it, you can't write on it.
You want me to go ahead and try to get it off then?
If you think you can, yes. And then we'll,
I wonder if one of those plastic putty knives would scratch it off, 'cause Kathy was scraping it off with her fingernail.
He just had a little straight razor blade, and he peeled a section of it off like that, and then the finish came off, and then all the little splatters, you just kind of work them with your thumbnail, they'll pop off, so.
Under the big pieces, it was almost still gummy underneath, like it hadn't set yet. And it's been this long.
okay.
So it may just help with the wall.
Well,
we can get the information on it, but the problem with ordering a panel is matching the other.
That's why I was gonna make sure it was the right.
Because when we ordered that the first time, the table panels didn't match, and Paperclip had to order another panel and make another hook up to.
I'll try getting it off.
I think scraping is good.
okay, okay, Stephanie, thank you.
Me too.
Okay, I've got a thing on here about the town board may have to go into executive session.
Skip count, well. Was
No,
that-
we
oh,
were
that was
just
her.
talking about
Okay, never mind, sorry.
Okay, if we do that, we will do that at the end of the meeting, so we don't interrupt the meeting and like that. Okay, I'll go down to old business, discuss draft of short-term rental rules. Where were we on that?
I met with Jim McDonald about that.
Okay.
And we worked on some of the wording, and I don't know, I think, do you have copies? Looks like you did. Goody.
Thank you.
Sure.
Well, I'm wondering if we should try to do anything with this tonight or take it home and read it.
Take it
No,
home and read
this
it.
is like 2 months we've taken it home and read it.
Well, the agenda says discuss draft, doesn't say take
Okay.
action and
Yeah, but
vote.
I mean, shouldn't we?
I think it's ready for a reading, but not, I don't think it can be read tonight.
Well, but I feel like we should discuss the different things, because
Yeah,
nobody,
sure.
none of them came up with it, I just took it from Silverthorne. So,
If you want to go over if you want to hit some of the
This is
items.
kind of substantially
Yes.
different than what we went
Yes.
over, Susie, so.
oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, I would say take a couple minutes and look at it, and then Susie, you can hit the greatest hits in terms of this, and then I'll address some of the other issues.
Okay. number 3, where you talk about the scope,
Uh-huh.
and you say that the operation of a short-term rental in the residential district as defined by the town of Pitkin zoning code shall be deemed to be the operation of a short-term rental without a license as addressed hereinafter. So, does that mean that the license is required? I mean, is that gonna say that in a minute, maybe? I just wondered what your intent is there.
Give me a second.
And one thing, you've got the initials
If you
S.
look at paragraph 3, Susie,
Yeah.
which you just read from,
Yeah,
it says this ordinance applies to all properties within the town of Pitkin, Colorado.
Mhm.
Short-term rentals are expressly prohibited in a resident district. Okay, so that's saying you can't do it.
yeah, but then the next sentence says
Right,
the
and then if
operation
you
of
look at the
one.
back, it provides that operating a short-term rental without a license, paragraph 15C,
Okay.
any person including without limitation the owner, a property management company, or any agent or representative of the owner believed by the zoning enforcement officer to be violating this section, operating a short-term rental without a valid SRT, short-term rental license, shall be issued a summons to appear in the town of Pitkin Municipal Court. So
And
it's
so-
saying it's not.
And it says it's a misdemeanor.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed is you have SRT, lots of, I mean, like those are your.
STR.
but it
Oh,
should be
yeah, I got
STR.
a little bit
You
dyslexic.
just need to do like a find and then find them all and change them all to STR. That's all. I could do that for you if you want me to.
No, I'm not completely dysfunctional, but
Okay. Anyway, okay, very good.
at least I'm consistently.
Yeah, you're consistently SRT,
I
yeah.
think SRT sounds cooler.
Really?
Yeah.
We'll change the name.
And Susie, if it's confusing, you could put that sentence into the paragraph I just referenced in the back, so.
No, it's really not confusing. It just, got me because it seemed like you were saying it twice. Or you were saying something different, like, I didn't know if it was gonna say, you can operate without a license, but then I don't see the point of why we have the whole license. So it's all fine. It's very clear.
It's whatever you guys want.
Have we got a person who's gonna oversee all this?
That would
Oversee what?
be the enforcement person, right? These-
You know, it
So you
appears to
would
me
use
that
the
we
court.
need to put this on the agenda for next time as a work session, and that any revisions or whatever to it, because this is different than what the original
Right.
was, and we read it a couple months ago or 3 months ago, and it's gonna have to be a public hearing anyway and published.
Well,
Yeah.
I would, if we had to
Because
do,
we can't really look at it. Here, I can't understand what she's saying over here. It's kind of mumbly and,
Oh,
well,
I'm sorry.
you know.
Try to speak more clearly.
if we're going to do that, I'd say we would not have a work session at the next meeting. We would have a work session in between,
Well, you could do that.
because it takes up, the meetings are long enough without
Yeah.
getting involved in something
I
like this.
am not gonna be here for the December meeting, and I'll be gone for 2.5 weeks, starting the 23rd, which is 2 weeks from yesterday. But if you guys, I'd love to attend a work session like next week.
Okay?
If that would work for
Uh,
anybody else. And then maybe everybody could, go through this carefully and just make sure that they like what it says, and then we could, make changes and discuss
Like
it.
maybe next Tuesday night,
It'll work for me.
maybe we can do that. Because I think we would be better off with a separate work session to do this, instead of trying to squeeze it into, I'll post it and it'll be a public meeting. But I think that
I will be gone, but I'll read it and make a comment.
Okay.
On this.
Okay.
What's the date?
I don't know what to do.
Today's, oh, the 17th.
That would be the 17th of November.
Jim, just for, on paragraph 6, item B, I think there's some words missing or something.
Steve, I may not be here next week, probably won't.
Okay.
But the following week I will be.
Yes. Actually, that's, I kind of
Well,
was
I
making
don't
an
know,
edit
but
and then I,
Probably a public meeting or something.
Yeah.
When are you leaving, Susie?
The 23rd, a week from yesterday.
Okay.
I think,
I mean, 2 weeks from
Well-
yesterday. Yeah.
A week from
2
yesterday.
weeks from yesterday. That's
Usually
good.
these dates.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, I just, yeah.
yeah, I've got it. If we're gonna do a work session, I would submit to you that if I had my druthers, we would do it on December 1st, simply because in terms of getting the zoning stuff cleaned up and presentable, I'm gonna need at least a couple of weeks, and I'm out all of Thanksgiving week.
Okay.
And if we're gonna do it, we can do them both in the same night. It means I come out here.
I
That
just,
would make
I
more
will
sense.
be in Switzerland.
Well, I would like to say one thing, speaking to the zoning, there is, in the zoning book, if you've looked at it, section 20, I think page 19, it is the process that you have to go through, which is that the zoning board can call for a zoning board meeting, and it's goes to the town clerk then notifies the zoning board that a meeting needs to be called, and then the zoning board has 15 days to call a zoning board meeting.
Shall I write you a letter?
Well, that would start the process. Send it to Jody.
Well,
And then, after that, then the zoning board makes a recommendation to this board. So it seems like we're kind of skipping some
so do
processes.
you want this to go to the zoning board first?
Well, that's the process that's outlined in this code.
You mean this for
The
zoning?
Board of Trustees
change,
has
then?
requested that I make recommendation to the ZBA.
Yes. So now it's time to follow the process
Well,
that's in the book.
but this is part of it.
Here's my note.
Is the town board has to, if we're gonna make the recommendations,
Well, this is different, you mean the short-term rental thing?
Yes.
It's not part of the zoning.
I'm not talking about that. I'm
No, they're talking about the
zoning.
zoning.
Nobody's going to do both in the same workshop.
Oh, yeah,
Isn't that
he's
what
saying
you
that,
said?
yeah.
That's what I
That's
requested.
what you're requesting. But I'm just saying, that's the process.
Well, I would really love to be available for the work session on the short-term rental thing myself. So I won't be here December 1st. Can't be.
What is the work
It
session?
becomes a moot point.
What's the point of a work session? I mean, what is a work session?
It's like to
It's a
go-
public hearing that the public can put input to, and whoever's did can
And we
go
would
through
just
and make
constantly-
changes and amendments and,
The one item.
or throw the whole thing out.
So it's basically, okay, I understand.
So it would be, just concentrate on the document.
Okay.
So you're saying, Jim, it's a moot point, like, what do you mean by that?
James is, the chair of the ZBA has made clear that I need to write a letter to the town clerk, which I will do, that will then be forwarded to either the Board of Trustees and or the ZBA, or merely the ZBA. And at that time, the ZBA may elect to have a meeting no less than 15 days thereafter.
And that's on the zoning
Yes, ma'am.
stuff.
Yeah.
But what about this, do you guys not want to deal with this sooner than later and try to have a meeting?
That's an
No, this is a different deal.
Yeah, I know, but could we
That's an
have-
ordinance.
I know.
We can do the 17th.
Can we do the 17th on that?
Yes,
Okay, that'd be great.
A work session.
Which one, November 17th?
so we're gonna have a work session on Tuesday the 17th. Is that correct? And what will be the subject of this?
The short-term rental ordinance.
Yes.
And
This-
what time would you like that meeting to be?
We'll just have it at 7 o'clock.
Okay.
And this is on the short-term rental rules.
On the short-term rental ordinance, yeah,
Short-term rental ordinance.
yeah.
Which would be ordinance 5.
Is that this, would that be
Yeah,
five there?
that'd be five.
I think that's next Tuesday.
Okay.
Okay,
The next thing we can't really do quite yet, right? The next thing on the agenda?
well, I wasn't sure about that. But
Well-
that I put to publish, but that has to go to the zoning board
Yeah,
first.
absolutely. It's got to go to ZBA. ZBA makes recommendations to this board, and only at that point do we start about doing a reading. And that's a couple of hurdles down the racetrack.
What time we gonna have this?
At 7?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So we'll do that. Okay, now we're down to work on budget. And Jody has prepared some spreadsheets here.
Well, the one was the same as last time, it's just
If you want to
updated.
explain what you've got there.
This one here is the same one you saw last time.
Okay,
It's just updated with through October numbers. So, you know, if you looked at the one from last time and you had any changes to make on the budget, I added in, you know, what we talked about last time, so anything that you looked at. And this other sheet is just a profit and loss statement sheet that printed off of QuickBooks, and the budget column is the 15. It's just the overall. It is not broken down by funds. If you want to see it by funds, you have to look at this sheet.
okay. Does anybody have any questions on it?
I got a question, not so much of this, but has to do with budget. Building inspector gets the budget every year?
Budget for what?
For the building inspector, I didn't think that there was a budget.
Didn't you
I know he
have a
gets
budget?
paid.
Zoning.
Well,
Zoning
zoning
has
has a small budget.
So would the building inspector stuff be under that?
It's down here at the bottom under the last line under general fund.
Zoning.
There's $500 in there, 300 has been spent.
I just have to read it.
The basic problem I have with the budget is that we're $9,000 short. You know, expenses over
Yeah.
revenues, right? And we're
For
also
the
another
budget or for the year to date?
budget for next year.
Oh, yeah.
And we're budgeting another 30, looks like, I gotta read it, maybe it's 4,000, for the street fund more than we're taking in. Budgeting that way. Don't we have to,
Well, oh, yeah.
shouldn't,
Well, you can't, you've got
I mean,
a fund balance and you can't,
no, I
you
know,
can't
but,
go under that, but it's up, yeah.
yeah,
it's-
but I mean, you're budgeting $13,000 more than revenue, budgeted revenue.
So, yeah, somebody probably needs to make some cuts.
Some cuts in expenses, right?
Yeah.
I mean, shouldn't that almost balance?
Yeah, last year it was, if
I
you
thought
look
it
at this
was-
budget on this P and L, it was 2,000.
I mean,
15's budget, that's what it ended up being.
so, I mean, I'm just saying that you can't budget $9,000 more in expense
Yeah, well,
than
that's
you're
why you're looking at
budgeting to
it.
take
so-
in, and another $4,000 in the street. So you're talking about $13,000 more than you're, I understand the money's there in the fund balances, but your
Yeah.
budget
well,
has to closely, nearly balance.
There's,
Well, not nearly,
there, I
it
don't
has
know
to.
what the budget for this public works, 3,500 is, what was that for? Right here.
I am under.
I don't remember what we had.
I mean, nothing's been used there, so is that, is what it,
Okay. This is the budget,
Public
2016
Works.
budget,
That's
right?
not on.
Right down here. So revenue is 32,000,
Oh, I'm looking
Our
at it.
expenses are all
Yeah.
over 40.
Yeah,
So
you need to
we're
look at the one with the funds.
$9,000, budget of $9,000 more
See
expensive
the public works,
in the budget for next year.
In the whole
so
budget,
you have
Well, this part,
3,500
then the
in the
street's
budget.
separate,
yeah.
and it's also budgeted
All right,
more than.
I just used
Oh, I
last year's
see.
number.
For next
So
year.
what, do we, I mean,
Okay, I
what is
see,
that
yeah.
for? Do you
Why is it
remember what
doing
that was
that?
for last
No,
year?
I
Or
don't. Does
our
anybody
expenses are too high.
remember what the public works money was?
Why would it bump
Well,
up though?
that was discussed, and I'm not sure.
Because it was budgeted last year and it hasn't been used.
Doesn't need to be.
And it looks like in 14, they only budgeted 1,800 and they didn't use that. Well, do you know what it was, what it was? Do you
The
remember?
public works here, I mean, the streets are separate, the ditches are part of streets, and that's separate. So I don't know whether public works,
Well, I would think it would be parks, but I think that's what the CTF
public
fund
works,
is.
so, yeah, I mean,
speed?
I think that's what the CTF fund is set aside for
conservation
the
truck.
Well,
Parks and
I
Rec.
thought that was in the street budget.
I think
Would-
that the
would
CTF fund
some
is
sidewalks come under
is
that?
restricted.
Like when Gary gets the wood to fix the sidewalks, would that come out of public works?
Yeah, it could.
That's not street. Sidewalks aren't streets.
But
Well, you would think they would be, yeah, but
you had made the comment, Joey, last time that you thought maybe that was Parks and Rec.
Well, I
And
did,
I got
but
to
I
thinking
believe-
about that, well, they get their own money.
That's the CTF fund.
conservation
Yeah.
trust.
Yeah,
And that's restricted only for that.
yeah, it
Right.
can only be used, just like the HUTF fund can only be used for streets. But we can add to that, you
You
know.
can add to it, but
We can
you-
add to it, but we can only spend that money.
This town hall fund, well,
Which,
whatever's
like,
in the
we got-
fund balance is
We got
what.
700 and some dollars this, you know, on our disbursement sheet, our treasurer's report. But that, all that has to go to the streets.
Yeah, and it's in
Yeah.
the revenue.
But we can add to it, that's what I'm saying. But they had, how much money's in the street,
Because some of the
street
mill
fund right now?
Goes
It
to
goes
that.
to, only to that.
Is-
How much is in it right now?
Yeah, you got like, as it says, the ending fund balance is 17,000.
Yeah,
See, and all of that come out of the HUTF.
well, that's
Fund
up
over
here,
the
that's
years.
up, yeah, that's up here, and that's the only place they
It's
give
just
us.
that this year we went over because of the gravel.
But if my budget is 15,000
Yeah.
every year, then how did I go over when the end result is 13?
Because you didn't get enough revenue to cover that.
That's from the state.
Then why is it so
That's
high
your-
though? Why would the budget be, I mean, why would it be such a high?
I think that needs to be cut
15,000.
next year.
Well, that.
Yeah, kind of, yeah, because we don't need it now because
Right.
I've got the gravel.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's fine, yeah.
So how much you want to cut off of it
I'd cut it.
for the 4,000? Well, see, we still have 2 months of money coming in, but the HUFTA money's probably not gonna,
Yeah, I
It's
mean, you
not
need to
up
cut
to
it
what-
12,000
I
or
see,
something.
because
And
we
that's-
got
that's
like
even a lot.
$10,000
You don't even- I don't
is
even need
what
that
you got
much.
incoming, and then.
and
they
the
see
mill
it
levy
now.
income's already been put in
So
there,
that's
so
all the cities and their HUTF.
I think it'd be conservative, you
4,000 or
should say,
5,000.
assume you're gonna get no more from
You're
HGTA
about 10
fund this year.
we spent more.
I
Cut the
see.
streets by
it comes every month, but
4,000,
it's not very much.
Yeah, I
et
just,
cetera, approximately 4,000.
So
I'd
I
cut it in
guess
half.
your budget needs
So
to
make
be
11
about.
instead of 15.
and I won't even use that.
And the ditches, I did not use it, I didn't charge, I did a lot of work, didn't charge anything to it this year, but there's gonna be some work next year that needs to be done. That is gonna cost, you know, $1,200.
So you want to leave that there?
I mean, yeah, I mean, at least most of that. It could be cut some, but that's a drop in the bucket.
So where do you want to put the street maintenance to? 10,000?
11.
11?
10's fine.
11, well, that 11 will make the budget come out.
Well, at this, yeah,
close,
that,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Within,
If we
within $100.
assume, if we assume we're gonna get 8,300 in HUFTA, we should make less.
Well, I mean, yeah, but you have to make some assumption.
So we'll change that to 11.
And I think there needs to be cuts in the
I don't,
other,
I
the
think
regular
we
expenses
could, we
too.
could do something with that public works money, but I just don't know what that, maybe I can, nobody remembers what that 3,500 is for, huh?
And none's been
No,
spent,
no. Maybe,
and nobody knows what it's for.
What it was
Ooh,
put in
it's
the
a slush
budget.
fund.
yeah,
So you make it 0 then, or 500.
Sidewalk,
Public works is usually like
flagpole.
road
Well-
and bridges, and
No, really,
yeah,
that's,
it could have been,
that's usually, that's
but
what
the
it's
streets here, though, I mean.
Yeah, so I don't know what.
There's a lot of things that could fall under.
Could be a water line or a gas line, or it shouldn't be.
It could
We
be,
do much of that, do we? Could we cut that
You
to
don't
500 or something?
no, I don't, I was wondering what it was for. It could have been for something like the street signs, the speed limit signs.
No, that
or
was-
something else.
That was in the capital.
Because they were,
That went in the capital.
because they were a lot more than $3,500.
Well, they were like 15,000. That's what
budgeted
this
35.
expense was. They were capital.
Okay.
And their budget 3,500.
That's how much expense that was capitalized.
Well, maybe we can cut the
Nobody knows.
No,
3,500
that's budget separate.
and then
This is something else.
hope nobody remembers what.
Well, you see,
Matt, in response to your,
Okay.
14,
So
the
nothing gets
budget was
done.
1,800, and it looks like now
I'd
it's
say it should be
500.
0 or
Let's put it
500.
Zero.
Yeah.
There's no such
Let's do
thing.
that.
And I'll
Yeah,
make a
Matt,
copy
no
and see if
such
she knows.
department.
Yeah, let's just do
in response
that.
to your earlier comment, I'm not sure if it's a legal requirement, but if it isn't, it should be. From my fiscally conservative perspective, your budget should be a
Materially.
sum zero.
Materially, it's not zero, right? I mean, it could be a few $100s, but not
You-
not
you should
25% of the budget.
You should have it say, this is what's coming in, this is what's going out, and it should be equal.
Right.
And if there's a difference, then you should make an allocation in advance from your reserve fund and identify that you're going to use so ahead of time.
I agree, so.
So the other,
So
the other
public works,
one,
so nobody knows what it is.
so we're gonna change it to 500.
Well, if it doesn't exist, why have,
Yeah,
Well-
I mean, nobody's in charge of public.
why not make
We,
it zero?
because in 14, they spent 500, so
Remember?
I'll have to talk to them.
Who's they, I wonder?
Well, I'm not sure.
But that takes 3,000 out, right?
That would cut
Yeah.
We'll check with
4,000.
Nancy and she knows.
Budgeted, but no, could that have been like Willie doing some mowing?
It's
Oh, yeah.
possible, it's possible, something like that, yes. Or he did work on signs, like the town hall sign.
Yeah.
It could have been stuff like
Now,
that.
these building permit revenue is way high, that's
Yeah.
because 14 money was turned into 15, so make sure you give me everything that you have before the end of the
Isn't
year.
that funny? Somebody must have asked for more
Well,
money.
no, I need money. If you got money, we can't deposit it in next year if it's for this year.
Public Works 500,
Have to go back.
right? Is that what we said?
Yeah.
Because that won't be that high, this
11,000 for
the
street.
6,000,
Is that what we
part of
said?
that was in 14.
Oh, I see.
But it was
Okay.
turned in to after everything was
Okay.
done.
It was turned in the next year.
Yeah.
So that gets us within about $6,000. But there's still another 6,000 to come out of expenses somewhere. Right?
That would be my theory.
Well, you got to, and it's going to, is the legal fees going to need to go up, or are they going to need to?
It's hard for me to tell you.
It's hard to say. Because it's going to go up from where we're at.
One thing we do.
I hope not, I hope
I
it's
mean, how
less,
did we
but
skip,
year to date, we're already at there, and there's a substantial
how did
bill
we
coming
spend?
Yeah,
No, we didn't.
and there's 2
We had
months left.
10,000
so we're
budgeted
already-
for law enforcement, didn't spend any of it, right?
Yeah.
Well, that was 2014.
14,
We didn't.
not
That's
the-
what
We
didn't
don't
do
have
15.
anything in
We didn't
here.
budget it for that.
And nothing
You
is-
got nothing in for the audit,
Yeah, we put money in for the audit.
not for this week, not for next year
That's
though.
why we got the 4,000,
Yeah.
because we
We don't
got
have
to
any
have
money.
it.
Oh,
And it's gone up.
yeah, I was supposed to put that in there.
That's gonna make it worse, right?
I hate glasses.
I hate math.
I hate getting old and having crappy eyes.
I know.
Okay, wow. Wow, building permits did really well, huh?
Well, that's what we were just talking about. There, a lot of that was from 2014.
Oh, okay, that's why you're telling me to get it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do we still have to cut some?
And the town hall is, it's over too, by 3,400. But doesn't look like 6,500 to spend either.
But there again, the town hall is a mill levy, and you have to spend it. You know, we had to set up a mill levy for maintenance of the building. It's for maintenance only. as required by
Well, you don't have to
the
have
Historical Society.
6,500 in for expenses though,
You know,
and that's what's made it.
but I'm just saying that's the only thing you can spend that money on.
Well, the mill levy's been added in here,
Yeah.
so it's still, you know, the 6,500 in expenses.
There was
is
some
maybe
left
too
over.
high.
So the big difference in this year and the budget versus the revenue is the building permits? It seems like that's one of the big factors. And, right? And
That's highway users tax fund.
county sales tax. For the big,
It's higher,
yeah, those are the two things that made
yeah.
the year-to-date much bigger, so
So we could.
we could budget more revenue too. I mean,
And the
if it's
the
realistic.
state mineral taxes that come once a year.
That's
It
just
looks
a-
like they could go up $1,000. They've been $1,000.
But that's my experience since I've been here, is that sort of goes up and down. I
The sales tax,
mean,
this
the
county.
mineral, the
The
state
mineral.
mineral
Mineral,
taxes.
oh,
You
yeah.
have no control over it, just a.
Yeah, that's so true, always been.
It looks like the last 2 years it's been 1,000 over 3,000.
So is it reasonable to budget $1,000 more? I think it probably is.
We can put
So
I
can
don't
we
get
budget $1,000 more
why is the
revenue?
county sales tax up by like almost $4,000? And the town sales tax.
County sales taxes, well,
Where do we get that from?
the county
But-
sales tax.
But like on what? Things like car sales or?
Car tags, people who buy things online and you get charged Pitkin sales
Oh.
tax.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor,
Stuff that's sold in town that's charged taxes on and they turn in taxes.
Yes, sir.
I'm just curious, in the interest of progression, it sounds like you guys have a lot of homework.
Yes.
Can this be included in your work session?
Well, we would have to be added as a different item.
I think we're gonna
We do
get
this
this down
every
hammered
year.
out.
It just,
Yeah.
We have
We
to have a
can-
resolution next month to adopt
We,
this.
we,
It has to be
we
turned
have to
into
have
the
the
state.
final at the, next meeting. So
think
we
you
got,
could have emailed this out before?
It
I
has
mean, it
been.
just seems like this took a long time.
Well-
We
We do
started
this
in like
every year,
September.
Levi, at
I'm
a
not trying to offend
regular
anybody,
meeting.
I'm just
We go over the
curious.
budget.
yes,
This is just something we gotta do.
yeah,
Okay,
Most of our meetings are not that exciting.
Yeah.
thank you.
Well, so we either have to cut expenses to the tune of another $6,000 or add to the revenue, and only if it's reasonable to expect that we're gonna get the revenue.
You can't predict
But
sales.
I know, but you're saying last 2 years, the mineral tax has been over $1,000 more than what
Yeah.
was budgeted. So I think that's reasonable to assume.
To put 4,000 in there.
Yeah, instead of, $1,000 more than,
Yep, so
And,
have that one before right there.
and this county sales tax has been, it's been doing, that's almost 4,000 more, right?
Mm-hmm. So there you
So I can
go.
change it to 4,000.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're within $1,000.
Okay, so what if we took,
Take care of streets, not gonna need all of that.
You have elections budgeted for $1,000 as an expense.
and then we may have that.
I don't have any idea how much
You don't
that
know?
costs.
Yeah,
But I think it was always supposed to be around $1,000, but that's been 8 years, so who knows
so I
what's gone
probably
up.
wouldn't take that out.
When at 1,500 one time, they said if we had the election, which we didn't have it, it would cost us about $1,500.
Okay, so then that should maybe be up to 15.
well, that depends on, and we haven't really talked about it, whether we do a mail-in ballot or have a polling place. I think Jody was gonna meet with Jim and kind of hassle some things out.
Polling place, that'd be cheaper.
We had to pay people.
Well, yeah, you got, yeah.
Then you got to rent
Can we cut $1,000 out of legal? Well, when you're budgeting, you have to,
Yeah.
He doesn't care what
you
you
have to ask the hard
still got
questions, right?
paid.
Yeah.
Or the fire department probably is the two options, right?
Well, streets doesn't need a budget. those streets.
No, it's already, that's separate, and that's
That's a
already
different
done.
thing. To see that
So we're looking for
part's,
$1,000.
that's separate. We're looking for $1,000.
Right. I mean,
That's,
aren't
that's
the-
PHCA.
Yeah.
Well, did you add in the 4,000 for the audit?
Does the
No.
audit cost
No.
Well,
4,000?
that's what it cost us this year.
Was it
Now, do
4,000?
we,
No,
are
that's
we
supplies.
gonna try to do it again?
What about supplies, Matt?
Well, how much is in supplies?
A lot?
$350.
I'm looking at the wrong thing then.
You're looking at what the actual,
I
you gotta look at the budget column.
Yeah,
the budget column right here.
2016 budget.
Yeah, right here.
Okay, and I need to have my special, for once, so I can keep it straight.
So it's like,
This one right here.
oh, this is for the propane.
Well,
How much is it?
Rand, what would happen if we took $1,000 to the fire department with that?
You know, last
He
year,
can't hear, you have to
it was
yell.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, what would,
$3
hey Rand, what, Rand,
$6,500.
Hey, Rand, Susan,
actually Matt had a question.
could we
but
reduce the fire department by $1,000?
What?
Reduce the fire department by $1,000?
I know.
I mean, it's gotta come somewhere.
What's it hurt where we have it?
It's 8,250 now, right?
Yeah. John raised it this year. $125.
Why?
Considering our QRT truck doesn't even work half the time, that's not the greatest idea.
Yeah, and it looks
Yeah,
like,
but what's in the bank, I mean, what's in
it
the
looks
fire
like you had an
department?
$8,000
A lot.
overage this year, like you had,
It needs
you
work.
made extra money this
There was
year.
enough
No,
money
they
when I
paid
left
2
to
years
buy
in
a
one
brand
year.
new
We
one.
didn't get paid last
We
year.
need to.
You should, you got the money, you should.
Enough to fix it, there's
But
enough to fix
they
that.
also put the 8,000, the audit.
I agree, you should.
Yep.
And you got the money,
8,000
good.
because they didn't know about
I got to go there
this.
first.
That could be taken.
I mean, it's got, you know,
This year, we're trying to put an addition on the firehouse for the brush truck. And we were gonna do a volunteer thing, and we decided to just put it out to bid and get it done.
I'm just, all I'm saying, Rand, is there's, you know, you have to get this number to closely balance, I mean, or exactly balance.
Well, maybe we should on paper take off is it $1,000 we're still looking for?
Well,
No.
she didn't have the audit in there,
Oh,
that's
so
another
it's
4,000.
Are you gonna do an audit for next year?
So it's
Well-
5,000 we need now. 5 or
We
6?
don't have to.
well, I'd say if we don't have to do an audit,
It's,
we could skip it
you
one
know,
year.
it's probably recommended, but
Well, it is recommended, but
But I thought lots of times we just did it every other year.
that's what we used to do, yes.
'Cause, I mean, it's expensive.
Are you
Yes.
comfortable with that, Jody?
it's,
Fine.
I
you
mean,
guys
It's not a
comfortable
function
with
of
Oh,
nobody's
I mean,
comfortable, it's
It's-
this
It's
board.
where,
I think
yeah, they gotta be comfortable with.
I'm comfortable with it
Me
every
too.
other year.
Audits are something that needs to be done, whether you need it or not.
But we-
Because once you approve this thing, or you approve anything, like you approve of the audit, then it's it, that's it. Whether it's right or wrong, it's approved.
Are you talking
You're
about-
not accusing anybody of doing something wrong, but it just backs up that everything's right.
Weren't they doing them every other year before?
We used to, yes.
Well, at times they have, but
Well, what's-
that's not the, really is not the way it should be. It should be done every year.
You could file exemptions.
Especially
if you're
anytime you
under a
change
certain
board
amount.
members, you need to have an audit.
Well, anytime you change
Clerks.
clerk, because we don't actually, or, you know, you don't actually handle money. The trustees don't actually, you know, they vote on it, but they don't actually handle money.
So
That's
on the
right.
revenue.
That's why
I-
the clerk should be bonded. And the trustees don't need to be bonded.
Well, you could budget more in the building permits if you think that's gonna happen.
Or we could figure out if there's something that has tended to give us, besides building permits, that has given us more money. And we did that already with the county sales tax because they gave us like an overage of almost $4,000. So
And
we
mineral
upped that
tax.
too, and mineral tax. But is there anything else on the revenue side that looks like it's trending to give us more money?
The building permits.
Yeah, but we already did that. Well, we didn't,
We
not
can-
really, because that was 2 years ago,
Well,
right?
but $500 is pretty low.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that, yeah.
I mean,
That's
we
true.
can change it. Well, I don't know.
I mean, Do you think people are just gonna put building?
So what do you want to change it to? What's it?
That's a really low number, $500.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why
That
don't
should
we
probably
make
at
it
least be
like
2,000 or
2,000.
3,000. Yeah.
3,000?
I would say you can conservatively go
Capital
through
expense.
3,000.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Okay.
it's
Three.
building.
There we just
you
caught
build a
up
new
with
building,
2,500.
But I do agree with
5,000.
Trustee Sharpton in that you had a transition of clerks this year.
Mhm.
And under the circumstances, I think that the board would be remiss in not
Mhm.
having a audit for fiscal year 2015.
Maybe
And
we
the audit
find a
costs
cheaper
$4,000.
auditors.
It could cost 4 gajillion.
Well, I mean, that's what it's.
I'm
cost this
saying in
last year.
terms of the transition,
That we should
there,
have.
there's no one saying that Nancy or Jody have
No.
done anything but a great job.
It's
But
just
that's the type of
recommended.
transition, you have to take the snapshot for
Right.
that fiscal year.
I'm all for it on it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just trying to figure out the
What
numbers
is the
here.
funding
So-
I
cap
appreciate
expense, I guess, the
So you're still
funding cap expense for
$2,500
$1,000
short.
bucks, do you know what that is?
No.
Because we didn't do it.
No, I don't, unless it's something that you have to have.
But the question becomes, do you know that it actually costs
Price
4,000?
of- Yeah.
Oh, is
It
a-
cost us
That's
4,000
the only
This year?
revenue they
Okay.
get.
So that's
Does
pretty
anyone
close.
happen
Unless
to
we
know
find
what the
cheaper
funding
auditors.
cap expense is, which was
That's capital
budget?
expense.
Yeah, good. It has
Okay,
to.
funding capital expense.
So that's like,
Or directly.
What are we
something,
spending?
right, so it'd be something like, if you wanted to do improvements on
Well,
a building or something.
Well,
it's
the
not
year
a-
before it was
it's a
2,900.
capital expense,
Yeah,
not
but
a-
that's an awful
not
big
an
increase.
expense, like
Counted.
building
Oh,
something,
okay.
You
yeah.
know, that's a 25% increase or something.
Well,
Save for having it.
I don't know.
or something, or
I haven't
something.
hired auditors
That's
before.
what that was.
It'd be a capital expense.
That's what they charged this year,
Do
so.
it this year or what?
We didn't spend any money. It was budgeted, right?
Okay, yeah, so it's 1,000.
Right, we could
Yeah.
not budget it, I mean, but is there a, in the capital expense fund, is there,
It's over here in the capital outlay.
so.
It doesn't have any
Indian fund
expenses.
balance is 4,000.
It doesn't have any expenses.
I don't realize that, but I mean, if there's
I mean,
$4,000 in the fund,
Yeah,
so we could, you know, I mean, you could say, I mean, that would be a place you could just not fund this year.
take that one out.
Well, I mean,
I don't know what
Then we'd
it's, I don't
still
know what
only have
it's.
1,500
it's, you know, for building projects and things like that for the
in the
town.
future, like someday.
When we build a
But
fund up
maybe
so
we
that you.
can't afford it right now to set $1,000 aside now for that. Because we still, even if we took that off, we still have to find 15 more hundred bucks. So I guess we just can't pay the lawyer anymore.
So we're gonna cut the fire department.
Whoa.
No, that's not my decision.
The fire department, did you decide we're gonna take
I
1,000?
wouldn't even make a decision till I talk to John. It's the fire department's decision, not mine.
It's kind of an important function.
Board
you know?
budget thing, whether it's got money or not.
Well, we got from county sales tax this year. I mean,
Well, we've already changed that.
we've already changed it to 4,000, but
Well,
we
it's
could
nothing.
change it to 5,000 because
It's
we
not
got almost
budgeted.
6,000 this year. Yeah, it would be another $1,000 bucks.
It's not budgeted.
What do you think of that? I mean, I don't know why that jumped so much. I mean,
I mean, it could be put in here, but you're gonna have to take the money from somewhere else
Sold
to
for
the balance.
stuff.
And that's where we're at now. $2,500.
well, I didn't.
Businesses, you didn't.
What was,
I thought probably more.
what was the amount budgeted for the sales tax?
For county sales tax was at 2,000, but we changed it already to 4. But we actually got almost 6,000 this year.
50,
So
no, 50, is that 58, 50?
yeah, 58.50.
And,
So
town sales
I mean-
tax is 14,000. And we're under on it.
And so what do you have it at now, if it was actual?
we have it at 4,000.
Well, we're almost to 12,000, so by the end of the year, we should be up to 14.
And you're talking about
I'm talking about county sales.
Yeah.
Oh, county's at 2,000 and we're at 5,800.
And you've still got 2 months to go.
I would say that you can make your
Bump it to
shortfall
5.
right there.
To make it 5,000 for the
Mhm.
budget instead of 4?
You could even consider make it the actual at present with a buffer of 2 months of sales tax.
You put it at 6,000.
Yeah, I think
Or
6,000 is a
5,800 or
legitimate
something.
number for that.
Okay,
So that would take care of it then.
then we would be fine.
Yeah.
Then we would be done.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
Then
do
we
that?
can, then we can look at the final numbers next month.
Okay.
Can we get a, Jody, I don't know when this will be, you get around to redoing it because of your schedule, but could we get an email?
Yeah, I'll send it out
advance.
because I'm gonna have to have a resolution ready in December because it has to be filed with the state by the end of December.
Right.
Yes,
Right?
yes. Okay, have we, okay, well,
Okay, I'll redo these.
okay, we'll get the final numbers then for that. Okay, discuss adopting a code of conduct. Did you say you came up with some,
Well, I got some booklets from the CML.
Get another one there.
Is Jim with me?
He can look, he can answer.
And it's kind of, is there recommendations on things? I didn't read through it all, but it's got some nice practices and what you're liable for and how you should act and things like that.
Outlier syndrome. Well, maybe we should read this over and talk about it.
I know a lot of these things I've read, have to do with liability and stuff like that,
Yeah, I mean, it's not something that you adopt, it's something that's already in place. It's
Mhm.
just something you need to know about.
On chapter 6, it's ethical conduct in local government. Chapter 6.
6.
And then there's a bunch of pages of notes.
look at that, you
Oh, I
can
guess
write
just
notes
one.
and everything.
I guess it's just one page. At first I got the whole rest of it, those notes, they didn't know what else to say.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, they got after they checked
Yeah, I think they actually do trainings and they
And use
have
this for a
DVDs. This
book.
is like,
Oh, and it has a thing on executive session.
and it just tells you the rules and it's the rules and you can't really change anything in there. It's just making everybody aware of what they are.
Well, so do you guys want to adopt this and then everybody go home and read? I mean, if it's something we can't change, it's not like we need to discuss it and go, well, I want it to say
well, no,
this.
we can't change it.
Right.
And I don't wanna go writing our own,
Right.
Why don't
You
we
know.
why don't we agree to everybody read it,
Mhm.
understand it?
okay, and then we can vote on it at the next meeting.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can't make changes, we either adopt it or look for something else,
Yeah. Nope.
okay?
Everybody agrees to read it for the next meeting.
Yes.
Yes.
Were you gonna look at the town fee schedule? Was that, were you
yeah.
gonna do that?
I have not. I didn't know that I was supposed to, and if I was supposed to, I apologize.
I think there were just a couple of things that we changed on it last time.
Because I brought it up and then somebody said, that I thought Jim was gonna look it over for some reason.
We didn't change anything and there was no input or anything, so, it's like I said, I put it together for the board and so it's up to the board to do what they want with it.
Well, I have written some
there
little
was a
things
couple
on here
things
like
changed,
daily
wasn't there?
here.
There was a couple of suggestions, but
Yeah, I thought James just put it together based upon the current stuff, so.
so
One thing I'd like to see changed on it is additions now, we're saying building a new house, and I think it should be lower. You already paid the big bucks to build your house.
You
If
mean,
you just wanna add a garage or a mudroom,
by the square foot or?
well, it's, right now to do an addition, it's $100 the permit fee and then 50 cents a square foot. That's
But
what a
on-
new house is.
But on this, it's 75 for additions. Attached room additions, 75 plus 35 cents per square feet, so it is less than regular residential.
Has been lowered down.
And then there were just a couple places where I had put daily, like violations, each offense not to exceed $300 daily. And then placement permit, the well permit was changed to a well placement permit for $25. And then the violation of illegal camping within the town, or the ordinance for that, the violation fine, I wrote in daily, because I guess that's what we
Yeah,
decided.
because somehow you could read it to mean $250 for the whole
For the
year.
whole month, and they could, or for, yeah, for the whole year or something,
Yeah.
yeah. And then it had for the ditch ordinance, when, if somebody like decides to take the ditch and make a creek in, or a pond in their
Mhm.
yard, that would be a violation of the ditch ordinance, and I'd written in daily on that, so.
Okay,
I don't know.
okay, have we
I mean,
already,
that's what, not just from me, but that was discussed at the meeting.
Put in these corrections and then you vote on it?
yeah, if, do we have to, have we already voted on these changes?
No,
I don't think so.
Okay, I
haven't
didn't
done
think so.
anything.
Okay, well then, if nobody has any other changes, I suggest that we vote on these changes.
Okay.
Unless somebody,
Well, we need something to look at.
Yeah.
What is,
What
you know?
is that? This is.
It's
What's
because
the one
Susan
I
wrote it
have
down
talked
in her
about it
paper.
last week.
okay,
Well,
It was in last
I don't remember
meeting.
when it
We did
was.
talked about it the last meeting.
yeah. I know that I brought it up.
And it'll be a resolution.
Yeah,
Yep, it's resolution number blank.
2,
Is it two?
if it gets done before the next meeting.
Okay, do you want me to read what's on here?
Well, he read it last time.
Yeah, he read it already. I
Okay.
remember that.
But I mean with the changes? Like the parts that are changed, do you want me to read it? So you guys.
Well, if we've already read it, then we don't have to read it again. Does this have to be published? No? I don't think so. Just an ordinance.
It's like approving the meal levies
Yeah.
and all of that. It's a
We
resolution.
just vote to adopt it.
And
Well, that's up to the board. If they wanna vote to adopt it, we can. If you wanna take it home and read it, we
Well,
can
they
do
took it
that.
home last time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. Everybody keeps taking on stuff and reading and then
Well,
we never do anything.
Why don't we try a vote on it, and if enough people vote, and if people vote no, then we'll have to come up with something. We'll have to
Okay, well, do you want me to read the places that I was just talking about so you'll know what it? Okay.
read the changes that you
Okay,
made.
so in the septic permit fees, it has this whole list of different fees. Well, on one of them, it was violations, and it said violations dash, each offense dash, not to exceed $300. But I had written in daily, because I believe that wasn't coming from me, that was at the meeting, that
Okay, yeah.
people agreed on that. And then everything else stayed the same, which I don't know if you have that in front of you, if you think it's all okay or whatever, but everything else seemed to be agreeable to everyone at that time.
Okay.
Then on the zoning code fees, the zoning code fees shall be set as follows, and everybody was agreeable with all of that, which was like residential, commercial was 100 plus 50 cents per square feet, but then room additions, in parentheses attached, was $75 plus 35 cents a square foot. And then accessory buildings went down from there. Remodeling and decks was less, you know. And the one thing that it just said well permit was $25, but that you don't actually get a well permit for $25, but rather it's a well placement permit, because you have to show them where their well has to be, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that was the only change on that list.
Same
Okay.
price, just the word placement.
It was just the word placement in there, yeah. And then copies of the code itself are $5 and so on. And then on the next page, where it had violation of illegal camping within town ordinance, so the camping ordinance, a violation of that, it was a violation fine of only $250, but we had discussed that that should be daily, because if you just say, oh, it's $250 for like the whole month or whatever, you know, that's like, well, heck, I'll pay that, you know, somebody would say they'd pay it. So $250 a day, and the violation of the ditch ordinance, like I was saying, if they divert the ditch and make a pond in their yard or something like that, that's $250 daily. And those were the only changes.
I believe if you look at the ditch ordinance, which I haven't looked at lately, but it's something about if somebody lays a big old rock in it and to back the water up so they can run their pump, and then they just go off and leave it, then somebody has to go remove it. It seemed like that was like a $50 deal or something, wasn't it? It wasn't 250, was it 250? I don't know.
Is that on that? Is that
Happens
part
all
of
the
that?
time.
That's, yeah,
I do it
Well,
all the
it just
time.
says violation of ditch
Yeah, so that's a different
ordinance.
section.
I mean,
but that's what
unless it was egregious, then, you know, I'd just take it out, but if they just keep doing it all the time.
Yeah, well, it's not unusual
Yeah.
for somebody to do it and then they leave.
Right.
You mean
And
they
it's
leave for the
there.
rest of the summer or something?
Yeah.
So you want to charge them $250? Is that
Well,
what you're saying? I'm just,
I mean, it just says violation of ditch ordinance.
yeah, I'm just asking that
daily.
question.
250 a day.
But what, didn't you prepared this originally, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, you had a violation fine of
Yeah,
$250, but you
and
didn't
that's
have
what
the
it said.
daily.
yeah.
Yeah.
My impression
So
is that's
do you
more
feel that the
for doing
ditch
something like
ordinance-
rerouting or changing.
Well, I mean, it is different
or
from
egregious
illegal,
type,
it's
Yeah.
different from illegal camping, so I mean,
Well,
if you want to do that as not a daily $250, it's just a one-time $250 fine would be sufficient. That's
yeah, I
a
know.
possibility too.
The ditch belongs to the town of Pitkin. It's owned by the town of Pitkin. It's the property of the town of Pitkin.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, it has an easement on each side of it, which you have to provide access.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can't, even though it runs right down the middle of your property, essentially it belongs to the town of Pitkin.
So are you saying
That's
that
right.
if you put?
So I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Is it,
well, maybe $250 fine is enough. I mean,
It
they're
might be.
not, they're not getting anything
Yeah.
for it, where if
think-
they were allowed to camp for $250
Between
fine
rock
for
and
a
roll.
month.
I
that
think
would
the
be-
$250 is
I think we have to
is
follow
a
whatever
lot
the
of
ditch
money.
ordinance is.
I do too,
Yes.
especially to
Yeah.
put a rock in it.
Ditch.
We have to follow,
I mean, I'm
this is a
guilty.
fee schedule. that
Right.
If it's in the ditch ordinance, we need to find out what is in the, I don't know.
yeah,
But, I mean, it
I didn't
it needs
bring
to
a copy.
follow the,
yeah,
I mean, the fee schedule needs to follow the already approved
Right.
ordinance, right?
right, unless you want to change it.
Well,
Right.
unless we want to change the ordinances so they
Well,
don't
you-
have fines in them.
You don't even
you know.
have to change the ordinance at this point. You're adopting another
You're just
schedule.
providing a fee schedule.
Yeah,
Just
so
it's
if
obvious.
somebody violates it, and they, you know, Jody can send them a bill or whatever, you know.
So what do you
So-
want to do about the ditch ordinance?
Well, I don't know, that,
And I don't know what.
Yeah, I
it is.
would-
Well, I
Would you
thought,
want to
I
leave it
thought
out
that
then?
part of the reason was the fee schedule is, then we wouldn't have to have fines in
That's
all
right.
the ordinances.
if
So we
you-
don't have to amend the ordinance every time we want to change it.
That's right. So it needs to be taken out of that ordinance.
That's right.
But
And
could
just
this
put
have
here.
a line in it that says it supersedes any fines in ordinances, whatever's on this? I mean, could that,
Yeah,
That way you don't have to go back
I
and-
with that,
you
simply
don't?
Because if you're modifying ordinances, I would submit that you,
yeah, without official
Okay.
Yeah, that-
public notice and,
that sounds like an end
But-
around.
I would just leave that out for now, the ditch once we.
yeah.
okay, so does the board want to leave the ditch ordinance one out for now?
Well, I wouldn't leave it
Because it
out.
doesn't define
Yeah.
really what, it doesn't really define what, you
Just
know,
says
what
violation.
what the violation is.
It just says
I hate
violation.
to say it, I wanted to vote on it, but I think we need to understand what it is and put the proper number in.
Yeah. And
From the
definition.
ordinance, you know.
You wanna check with the ditch ordinance then.
What about the other ordinances? Do they have
Well, I mean,
fines in
just to make,
these?
it's gotta be, it's gotta
Camping.
match, right?
Yeah.
Well,
It's not what we're doing.
Yeah,
Do they have numbers in there?
yes, they, like the camping ordinance has a $250 fine, but it says something about one time.
Which is not
And
going
so
to be any
somebody wanted
better.
to camp all summer, they could pay $250
Yeah, we
and
got that.
camp
Be
in the
like,
street
cool.
all
Yeah.
all summer,
Right.
you know?
Yeah, that's why I'm thinking, I mean, but I don't think Jim likes the idea of doing it where it supersedes what it says in the ordinance, so we're gonna need to next year when
You can do
it.
that, just do an ordinance. An ordinance regarding fines and fees.
So make this an ordinance,
Yes, ma'am.
and then it can supersede whatever it wants to
Right,
supersede.
but then you've defeated the purpose of, James was suggesting, of trying to create ordinances. For instance, if you look at what I handed out today, which should say the STR, instead it says SRT. If you look at paragraph 5, for example,
Yeah,
short-term rental license application form, SRT application. The SRT application as adopted in a resolution by the Pitkin Board of Trustees shall be completed. So what I tried to do there was what we discussed at the last meeting, which is take some of the elements out of the ordinance so that the board has a little bit more flexibility to adopt by resolution certain things, including application forms, fee structures, etc.
And then this fee schedule can be modified from time to time.
That's
Yes.
correct.
Without changing ordinance.
That's correct.
As a resolution.
It's a more agile approach to dealing with
Yeah.
the changing of those types of things.
So is there any way to do this without going back and changing all the ordinances?
Well, you can adopt actually, I
Unless
guess
you
you
make
could.
this, yeah.
You could adopt an ordinance regarding fines, fees, etc., and say, look, these are what they are at present, and hereinafter, the Board of Trustees shall have the ability to adopt by resolution an annual fee and penalty schedule.
okay, so this should not be a resolution, but an ordinance maybe.
Well, if you
No.
want to reach in and change
You
things,
you need both, don't you, what you're saying? You need an ordinance to establish the right to do the resolution.
that's ultimately what I'm saying, James. I'm saying you could actually do it all in one now.
Yeah,
Say ordinance number 6, an ordinance
yeah,
adopting the current fee schedule and providing the ability to modify fee schedules and penalty schedules going forward.
okay.
But that's ultimately, that provides you public notice and the discussion in terms of the ability to do that going forward without having to dig into each of the ordinances. going
That would
forward.
probably be good then if the town board were to ask him to do that, him to write this into an ordinance.
I will.
Okay.
Do we need to vote and all that on that, or just?
Think we probably, he can go ahead and write, we probably have to vote to authorize him to write the ordinance.
Here, you want this one? Since it's changing, you can have that.
Does that rain?
No?
Oh, is it so?
Does he want that?
Might be
You
sleep.
write on it?
Yeah.
Corey's got a question.
Just Sally?
I was just gonna
Oh,
ask,
Corey,
that approach seems kind of cumbersome as far as 20 years down the road, somebody's trying to look at an ordinance and go, oh, the fee is $250 or whatever. And then somebody else is like, no, see, the resolution says this. You gotta know, somebody has to know, there's an ordinance somewhere floating out here that supersedes all these fees and these other ordinances. And if you're not amending the ordinances to make reference to that, I mean, you see what I'm saying? Is 20
Well,
years from now, when there's people that are, this whole board may not be sitting here, whatever, and kind of straighten that out for people.
20 years from now,
Well,
5
I'm
people
just-
in the room might
You
be.
see what I'm saying? Is that you have an ordinance that says, no, you're gonna supersede all the fees and all the other ordinances by this resolution that the board can.
but the resolution can change it every year.
I know, but you don't know, if somebody just goes and looks at the ordinance and goes, oh, the fee is $300 a day. But say, 15 years down the road, the resolution says, no, it's $450, then you have this argument. And somebody that's looking at that ordinance may not know there's another ordinance out there that says, oh, we're superseding all of the fees written in other ordinances. It just seems,
So maybe we need to go through every one of those ordinances and
I know it's a
change it.
pain, but it seems like for cleanliness, you need to go through here and say,
Take the fees out.
just
Say
take it out.
refer to
and be done.
fee
We can do that over the winter.
There's only 6.
There's only 6 ordinances, so we'd have to do that too?
Yeah, like the guy didn't think
Cool.
there was that.
That's not much, we can do that, we can knock those out in 1 month, right?
What if we vote to take the fines out of
Yeah,
there
and then just have a resolution, right?
and then say,
Well, you don't
refer to fee schedule?
I mean, if it's really that few, then it seems pretty easy to go in and just strike, the only change would be taking the fee out and say, see.
Refer to fee schedule.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just see fee schedule.
Mhm.
But yeah,
That's what-
I
yeah.
know you still have to post it because it's a change to an ordinance, but it's not really any real work to go in there and change a few words.
yeah.
And I don't think anybody's gonna have a problem with it. I mean, the fee schedule is a great idea. Like you said, you don't have to go in and change it every time, but for cleanliness, it seems like you're
What do you think that,
taking the long road around.
I think that it's a great idea, but I think that right now, given the STR ordinance and the zoning issues, it's fairly ambitious if you expect to have it done.
Right. It's,
I'm just saying it's a lot.
it's cumbersome.
But
Yeah.
I think that if you would, you take the ordinances as they exist and you say, the fine shall be established by the Board of Trustees, it is a handy way to look at it.
Mhm. But so do you want to make this fee schedule ordinance thing, that the one we
No,
were
I
just talking
think at
about?
some level, going into each one
Okay,
is perhaps the right thing to do.
it just may not be done for a few months.
Yes,
I think it'd be a lot to do right now with all this other stuff.
that's what I'm trying to say in a delicate
agree.
fashion.
Okay. So,
Although it shouldn't take that long to change just a couple sentences in each one of those ordinances.
That is correct.
If they're digital already.
But once I start looking at them, I'm gonna review everything in the ordinance, because
Oh,
it
yeah.
doesn't
that's
make
the
any
thing.
sense for me not
So
to.
we're looking at probably 6 months out.
No,
No,
I think
but I'm- well, maybe.
legitimately having stuff drafted possibly for some of them for December, and certainly I would say there's a legitimate reality that I can have everything drafted for January.
And
Okay.
do you know which 6 they are?
Well, just looking here, Septic, as of the day after Thanksgiving, the OWTS doesn't have any fee schedule.
It's good.
And then, so you've got the zoning code, open records is, I guess you could, that would be 7.
Okay.
So cemetery and the septic is gonna be out, unless you have a fee schedule. So you've got ditch, camping, and streets, nuisance, and then open records and zoning. That's the ones you've got to. Now, you need a fee schedule for the septic because
There isn't.
it's going away.
Right.
I'll put it on the
Well, it's on
agenda
here
for
already, the septic is, right?
December. I'll put it on the agenda for
Yeah.
December, and we'll see how the workload's going and see what we can get done. Okay?
The septic is on your list,
Yeah.
but not adopted, right? I mean, it's not this isn't in effect. So the day after Thanksgiving, there are no,
There's nothing.
penalties
there's
on septic
nothing,
for a
except
while.
what's in the old
it's
ISDS.
not so good, you know?
Okay, well, I'll put it on there for December, and we'll see how we're going.
Well, make sure you put something saying, vote on adopting permitting fees relating to the, what is it called?
OWTS.
The
Yeah,
OWTS.
I mean, you should have a specific agenda item so that is adopted.
Do we have to vote on a fee schedule for the OWTS?
You should.
Well, because it's not in that new,
Yeah, because the state, the water quality people said take it out. So they wouldn't accept it if it was in there.
but it's all outlined right now here on your fee schedule
Yeah.
already, so.
And Gunnison's in the back, they're not part of the regulations, it's just a fee schedule.
Do you want my copy of this?
Yes, please.
That was that
Give me that one back.
is that a OSW?
No.
OWS.
All right, it's OWTS. It's on-site, which is hyphenated, on-site wastewater treatment system, OWTS.
I'm in trouble with that because I learned ISDS.
I
a long
know,
time
I
ago.
did too.
Yeah.
So did the rest of the state, but somebody thought this was more appropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah, on-site, and on-site is hyphenated,
Treatment system.
wastewater
Okay.
system.
We'll go down to new business. Vote on septic for Schreivogel. Well,
What it is, Steve and I went over there and looked, and it's Schreivogel wants to put, they have a holding tank in River Street. They want to put a leach field in River Street. Well, in order to miss the wells around there, they have to be, they're basically 50 foot long, and it's right in the middle of the neighbor's piece of property in the street. It's not in front of their house at all.
Oh, yeah.
no.
And they're gonna chop down a bunch of trees to do it. And to me, it would, why should we allow that that's gonna affect these people that own these 4 lots next door? Because when it's there, that could really affect where they put their leach field in.
Well, it would just
Well.
affect where they put their well. They're gonna have to put their wells up at the
Well,
front.
with the river right there, they're not gonna get a leach field there, so they're gonna have to put their well down by the
Yeah.
river and their leach field up by,
Okay, yeah.
well, it'd be the alley in this case, but it's up by State Street.
But if they put it here, like we talked about, that's gonna interfere with
With their wells.
okay?
Their well's right here in the corner of the house. But I think putting it over here, it gets it away from their well, but it ruins these people's property.
That's not right.
I think forever getting a leach field and well on those 4 lots.
And I can see that.
So Rand, or they put land, Rand, is part of the system on town property?
They got a holding tank there.
Yeah.
I understand, but I'm talking about the new.
The
Yeah,
new-
that's gonna
The
be,
new system?
Yeah.
It'll all be on town property.
yeah.
Is that a normal thing that we allow?
What?
Is that a normal thing we allow?
No, we allowed Garrison's to do it up there at 6th Street, but it's not real normal.
Show me the scoop.
What we would do is, put a thing on there
This
that
is over
says,
like
if the
Fred
road,
Space's
if
house
somebody
here,
ever
and we-
requires the road to be put in,
It's
the road will be put
Windows
in.
up there.
Right. What?
If it's
I
affecting
just said that's
a
what it
neighbor.
was.
That's
Yeah.
the windows,
Then
it's
it
down
shouldn't
over
be-
the edge and there, and
shouldn't
they got
be
a holding
allowed.
tank
It's,
there now, but
it's
they want to put the
possible
leach
it
field
could
clear up here.
affect a neighbor.
This is the edge of their property. So, to me, it really messed this piece of property up.
It's,
What?
it's not the thing to do.
I don't think so either.
Watson, something? It's just
In the past years,
It's,
the board has allowed people to do these things,
Selden Watson.
vacate alleys when they shouldn't have.
Yeah.
There are some
Stuff next to
septic
Garden.
systems that's now in the street, and,
What?
somewhere you gotta draw the line in the sand and say, that's it, we're not gonna do that anymore.
When it's
Yeah.
affecting somebody else.
Especially if it's
in front of
affecting
their
that.
property, I could see it, but they're putting.
And the other thing is, the people
Now-
keep saying,
this.
River Street will never be open, it'll never be
Windows
used.
and then that.
Well,
This is
right
like
behind
a
my house is a beautiful place for a park
thing
and a
to there,
picnic
and I don't know
area.
if these people
The
say
access
their
would be
neighbors
River
are-
Street.
Oh.
And they already have a tank sitting in
Back
River
down.
Street, so you'd have to go around it. But
They just
who's
built
to
a well.
say that 2-3 years from now,
Todd and Phil are dealing with it.
the town might decide to put a park in there?
Yeah, McElroy, that's their name.
I don't,
Yeah.
well, yeah,
I mean, it's a
yeah.
nice, beautiful, it's a little island out there and
The way this
bridge,
is way up here.
But I don't
Fry's
know if
used to have a
They got the
bridge
river
to it.
drawn
But I
in,
don't
there's
know
like
if you
a
could even
ditch
reach
goes
that
through here.
from where this is. I don't know if
Yeah,
you,
you can
It's like
reach
an
it.
overflow
Can you?
ditch.
I just think that's done.
But anyway, I would vote no.
Me too, because it's affecting somebody else.
Because, yeah.
Because that's not right.
Because these people, I think the only place they could put
It's in
their
the
septic
street,
is up
but it's
here.
out in front of theirs,
I think they could only put, these
This is
people
where
could
you
only
go
put
down
their
the
septic
hill.
system up here and they'd have to
go up there
drill
and
it.
fork left.
And
They
then,
ruined it.
yeah.
Okay, where's the
They couldn't
If
get
you go
50
farther
feet
down by
from the
Fry's,
river.
you used to be able to
Well,
drive.
you know, they could put the well over on the other side, on Courts Lane side, and do a directional drilling, you know, you can come in and you could go underneath the creek and put
That guy would have to do that then?
yeah,
Well, that would be real expensive too. That's not really right.
hey, I'm just saying, you can do it if you got the money.
Yeah, but this decision is
Yeah, why would you have to
affecting
do
that
that?
guy
Because
by
you
making it real
let the neighbor
expensive.
screw your property.
Right, no, that's not good.
So we make a motion to vote on it? Make a motion to vote no.
Can if he puts it where we talked about, is his the only well that's affected, or is it somebody
Circle
else's?
there. It's Fred Space's well is,
Up front on
Oh,
state.
yeah.
it's way, let's see, where's Fred, his well's way over in front of his house.
Of course, you see, if they do put it there,
These-
they're still allowing a system to be put in River Street.
Yeah,
And the only way that I say we should do it is, I don't know how you give them right of way, easement, whatever, that if the road ever has to go in, the system has to be taken
Why
out.
do we have?
Because, I mean,
Well,
if these
you
people
probably-
here decided they wanted to build and have a driveway going down through there,
Well, if you did something like that, then you'd be involved in lawsuits. I can see it, I think it's just, I think you're just
he just
asking for
needs to
trouble.
get a
if you
new-
do
I
it.
think with the way this system
He
is, they
needs a new
are.
approach.
Yeah,
I mean, they could probably drill a new well up here and get it here, where it'd be in front of their property and wouldn't mess other people
are
up.
these their lots?
Yeah,
Well, then they can put the septic up there, can't they?
well, the river's right here. I don't know why they, you know, the way the river goes through their property, it pretty much,
Yeah,
if they could get it right in here, but they'd have to drill a new well, because their well is right there,
okay,
in the corner of their property.
okay. But and also, I don't like the idea of putting more stuff like that on town property. Because then, at the next meeting, somebody else will come up and say, I wanna put this on town property too. You know, you could just kinda open the can of worms a little bit further.
Well, it sounds like we have a consensus, so do we,
Yeah.
do we vote, or what do we do?
So
Yeah.
you want to vote on it?
Yes,
Okay, somebody
I'll make a
motion
motion to vote.
to vote on the septic for Schreivogel.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Either make a motion to approve it or disapprove it.
Disapprove it.
Motions are supposed to be positive, so.
Okay, a
However you
motion
wanna
to
do it.
disapprove, what's their names again?
Schreivogel.
Schreivogel's Leech, change,
Septic system.
septic, okay.
You're making a motion to approve it.
no,
Disapprove it.
yes, I guess we can do that.
Well, you can, it should be to approve it,
Well,
and
if
then
you
everybody
move
can
it.
vote no.
I don't think
anybody
that
wanna-
anybody's gonna do that, but I
Does
guess
anybody wanna-
if we do that, it could just die
Anyway.
for lack of a
We can just
motion.
do it.
We'll just,
Just get it done.
Make a motion to approve it, and then people vote no,
Okay.
or yes.
Okay,
So are you
So what's
offering
the
a
motion?
friendly amendment, Brent?
What?
Are you offering a friendly amendment?
Amendment to.
Yeah, you just
Amendment to
amended,
what?
yeah.
Yeah.
You're offering a friendly
Well,
amendment.
it hadn't
been
You have the
seconded
opportunity
yet.
To accept the friendly
Yeah.
amendment.
Yes.
Okay, now the motion that stands before the board is whether or not the Schreivogel septic should be approved. Is there a second?
Who first did?
You did.
You
did.
You did.
Okay.
okay. I'll vote to approve it, I'll vote second.
to
I'll second
second, okay.
it. Second just means you want to discuss it.
Yeah,
That's all it
okay, okay.
So,
We have
I'll
a,
second it.
we have a motion on the table to approve the Schreivogel septic.
Any further
All in favor?
discussions? Any further
Yeah,
discussion?
any further discussion? All in favor of approving it, signify by saying aye. All opposed?
Aye.
Okay. I guess that didn't fly.
Typically it's a nay, but yeah.
Yeah. nah.
Okay, okay, Leech Field for Daniel.
Okay. McDaniels is that they want,
Is this McDaniels or Daniels?
Daniels, they want to stick the leach field right up against the State Street property, which is out in the meadow behind their house.
Yeah,
State Street is not there. Leach fields don't hurt setbacks.
Yeah.
And the setback is made for fire and snow shed.
Aren't they on Courts Lane and they don't reach all the way to State Street? I don't get that. Are you saying State and you mean something else?
They'll be approaching River Street, which is
River.
out in the meadow behind their house.
But you
There's
just
no-
said State, that's why I was asking.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
a State?
Yeah.
River Street.
Okay,
And
River
it's-
Street.
And they just want to get up right on the property line.
yeah.
You're still
Okay,
gonna be
and
on
the
their
River Street
property.
isn't
So they're
there.
not actually on River Street, but you're.
No,
they
it's
just
right
don't
up to
wanna-
their property line. It's a
But they don't
raised
want to meet the
bed.
setback.
Their new sewer system is taking a fiberglass arrowhead, replacing it with a 2,000-gallon tank with a lift station
Upgrade.
to a,
So, yeah.
so it's 199% improvement.
Yep.
And there's
Yeah.
And
no
it's
chance
still
that,
on their property, it's just not
Yeah.
making setbacks,
and
which,
plus River Street would not go in there. I mean.
No,
if they, if River Street went in, it wouldn't hurt it.
It's
No,
still
right.
on their
It's
property.
on their property
It's on
still.
their property.
Okay.
Is it 50 feet from the stream?
It's actually 65, but this, on the plan it says 50 minimum, but it's 65 feet from the stream still.
I don't see anything wrong with that one.
No, 'cause I don't-
We went there and looked at it, and like I said, it's all on their property. And if River Street ever was put in, it wouldn't be a problem.
And make a motion to approve the septic plan for Daniels.
I'll
Leach
second
Field.
it.
I have a motion from Matt to approve. I have a second from Cindy. All in favor of
Well, I
approving?
mean,
Yes.
discussion again.
Discussion.
Yeah. It needs to have a profile hole. Was that an 8-foot deep?
Oh, they already did everything.
They've already
Yeah,
done it?
already.
Yeah,
Did it
they've already,
pass the
it's all
groundwater?
engineered, and
Did it pass the
they're just
groundwater?
asking for a variance to put it up on the property.
Did
Bob
it
Williams.
pass the groundwater test? 4 feet below the tank?
Williams did it all.
Well, I know, but you're the inspector. Did it
That's why
pass?
it's a raised bed.
Okay. Okay. That was just a question, if they did it, yeah.
Yeah, they did, they dug a hole. Williams come and looked at it, and that's why it's getting a raised bed, and they got cable anchors on the septic.
That's the only question I have.
Okay, no more,
No.
okay. All in favor of approving the setback or the no setback for Daniel's leach field, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we passed that. The only other thing I had on the agenda was to vote on a new zoning board member because we have a vacancy.
I have a question, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Can you nominate somebody? Like if I wanted to
Well,
nominate?
it would be better if the person were to say that they were interested, instead of so
That's
far,
true.
Well, have you
nobody.
provided notice that there's.
As
I
a
posted
security.
it, I posted it
Come on.
48 hours, but we don't, if nobody comes forward, and it'll be on there, then it'll stay up in the post office till the next meeting.
And it usually sometimes sits there.
We
for
had
6
one up there for a year,
Yeah,
2
a
years.
year.
yeah.
So you
So,
had no interest in this?
well,
I
Yay.
am interested in the position.
okay, there's one.
Sucker.
I think that Levi would be very good.
Me too.
I do.
Me
Does
too.
anybody else put their name in?
Nobody, no. But I'm gonna ask, I mean, we're not
Lock the
gonna.
door before Levi can leave.
Yeah, exactly.
Is anybody else interested? Okay, I guess we need a motion and a second to
We'll
vote.
make a motion, we vote Levi into the zoning board.
Okay, I got a
I'll
motion
second it.
from Rand, I have a second from Susie. Any more talk on this? Any more discussion?
As
Okay,
long as he understands that it's not public opinion, it's by the zoning rules, by the zoning
Well,
book.
I think he does,
I think he
Okay.
does.
and we should vote him in before he changes his mind.
Yes. All in
I think he
favor of
understands
voting
that.
for Levi on the zoning board, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Sorry, Levi.
Yeah, congratulations.
It'll be a-
Meeting is adjourned at 8:35.
Oh,